Do you like mysteries? To wander through the enigmatic mist of the inexplicable? Great. I'm Merc, and here you'll find what you're looking for. Welcome to my domains. The truth dissolves into the mist.
High in the Indian Himalayas, at an altitude where the air thins and silence becomes oppressive, there is a lake that refuses to remain quiet. For most of the year, it is sealed beneath ice, hidden from the world like a secret buried on purpose. But when the snow retreats, something unnatural emerges from the frozen water. Human skeletons, hundreds of them, scattered along the shoreline and resting beneath the shallow surface, as if death itself decided to gather here and wait. This place is known as Roopkund, often called the Skeleton Lake, and the question it poses is simple, yet deeply disturbing. How did so many people die here, in one of the most remote locations on Earth, far from settlements, trade routes, or battlefields? And more importantly, why were their bodies never buried, never claimed, never mourned? The lake was first reported in the modern world during World War II, when a forest ranger stumbled upon human bones exposed by melting ice. At first, authorities feared the worst. The idea spread quickly that these remains could belong to Japanese soldiers attempting a secret invasion through the Himalayas. An unsettling thought, but one that soon collapsed under closer examination. The bones were far older than the 20th century. Whatever happened at Roopkund did not belong to modern warfare. As researchers returned year after year, each thaw revealed more remains. Skulls, ribs, femurs, some cracked open with force. Many skeletons lay unnaturally close together, as if a group had died at the same time, frozen mid-journey. Personal artifacts were found among them: leather shoes, wooden tools, fragments of cloth. These were not warriors prepared for battle. They were travelers, pilgrims, ordinary people who never reached their destination. See, the geography of Roopkund only deepens the mystery. Sitting at over 5,000 meters above sea level, the lake is surrounded by steep ridges and unstable terrain. Weather here changes without warning. Clear skies can turn into deadly storms in minutes. Even today, experienced climbers treat the region with caution. For unprepared travelers in the past, it would have been unforgiving. Local legends offer an explanation, one wrapped in divine punishment. According to ancient songs still sung in nearby villages, a group of pilgrims once offended a mountain goddess. Enraged, she unleashed a storm of iron-hard hail, striking the travelers from above, killing them where they stood. For generations, this story was dismissed as folklore, a symbolic warning against arrogance in sacred lands. But when scientists began examining the skulls, something unexpected appeared. Many of the skulls showed circular fractures on the top of the head, not cuts from blades, not wounds from arrows, blunt force trauma, consistent in shape and size. As if something had fallen from the sky, repeatedly, with lethal precision. No defensive injuries were present on the arms, no signs of combat. Whatever killed these people came from above, fast, sudden, and impossible to escape. Radiocarbon dating later revealed an even stranger truth. These skeletons did not all belong to the same time period. Some dated back to around the 9th century. Others were over 1,000 years younger. Different groups, separated by centuries, had met the same fate at the same lake. Roopkund was not the site of a single tragedy. It was a recurring destination of death. DNA analysis complicated the narrative further. The remains did not belong to a single community or region. Some individuals had genetic markers linked to South Asia, others traced back to the Eastern Mediterranean. People from distant lands, with no obvious connection, ended their lives together in this frozen basin. Why would such different groups all converge on the same remote lake? One theory suggests Roopkund lay along an ancient pilgrimage route used for ritual journeys tied to mountain deities. If so, the lake may have been considered sacred, a place where the boundary between the human world and something greater felt thin. But sacred places can be dangerous, especially when nature itself becomes the enforcer of belief. Cyclic avalanches were considered, but the skeletal evidence does not match. Disease was proposed, but mass illness would leave different marks on the bones. Warfare was ruled out entirely. The injuries were too uniform, too precise. The lake seemed to select its victims without discrimination, without warning. Even today, Roopkund remains largely inaccessible. Expeditions are rare, tightly regulated, and dangerous. And each time the ice melts, it feels as if the lake is trying to speak again, revealing fragments of a story humanity has yet to fully understand. A story written in bone, silence, and altitude. The deeper researchers look, the clearer one truth becomes. Roopkund is not just a grave, it is a message. And whatever that message is, it has been waiting patiently beneath the ice, long before we were ready to listen. What transforms Roopkund from an archaeological curiosity into something far more unsettling is not only how these people died, but how the lake appears to repeat its violence across centuries. Nature rarely reenacts the same catastrophe in the same place with such consistency, unless the environment itself is part of the mechanism. Meteorological studies suggest that the region is prone to sudden, extreme hailstorms, formed when powerful updrafts collide with freezing air above the Himalayan peaks. These storms can generate hailstones large enough to crush bone, falling vertically with no warning. At such altitude, there is nowhere to run, no shelter to hide beneath. A group caught in the open would be defenseless. This explanation aligns disturbingly well with both legend and forensic evidence. The circular fractures on the skulls match the impact pattern of large hail. The lack of defensive wounds suggests panic and helplessness rather than resistance. The clustering of bodies indicates sudden mass death rather than a prolonged event. In this sense, science does not debunk the ancient story, it reframes it. The goddess may not have been a supernatural being, but the storm itself became divine in its inevitability. Yet even this explanation leaves unanswered questions. Why did travelers continue to pass through this area long after it became known as a place of death? Oral traditions existed for generations. Songs warned of punishment. And still, people returned. Recent genetic studies revealed something even more unsettling. Some individuals found that Roopkund had ancestry linked to regions as distant as Greece and the eastern Mediterranean. These were not local pilgrims following inherited paths. These were outsiders, people who had no cultural memory of the danger, drawn into the mountains by reasons we can only speculate about: trade, exploration, spiritual seeking, or perhaps the belief that the legends were exaggerations. Human history is filled with moments where curiosity overpowered caution. Roopkund may represent one of those moments repeated endlessly. There is also the psychological dimension. At extreme altitude, hypoxia alters judgment, perception, and fear response. Travelers may have underestimated the sky, ignored early signs of danger, or felt compelled to continue even as conditions deteriorated. By the time the storm arrived, it would have been too late. Modern expeditions have reported sudden weather shifts that mirror the ancient accounts, clear skies collapsing into chaos within minutes, ice forming instantly on exposed skin, visibility erased. The mountain does not warn, it acts. Indian authorities have since restricted access to Roopkund, not only to protect explorers, but to preserve the remains themselves. Climate change accelerates ice melt, exposing bones that had been preserved for centuries. Each thaw reveals more of the past and risks erasing it at the same time. Roopkund stands as a convergence point of myth, science, and human vulnerability. A place where folklore did not exaggerate danger, but encoded it. A reminder that ancient stories often emerged from lived experience, sharpened by survival, and passed down as cautionary memory. The lake does not belong to one culture, one century, or one explanation. It is a silent archive of human error, faith, ambition, and fragility. And as long as ice continues to melt, Roopkund will continue to surface, not as a solved mystery, but as a warning written in bone. Some places are not meant to be conquered. Some paths do not forgive repetition. And some answers, once uncovered, only reveal how little control humanity has when nature decides to speak.
Did you like this mystery? And what is your theory? Leave your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed it, then like and share. I'm Merc, and I'll be waiting for you in the next mystery.